Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we are back with our usual 24/7 news report with our following all the Everton news. It's rolling Everton. And we start our news report as we always do with our headline news. And we actually have two pieces of headline news for you today. A little bit of a treat, or like it's regarding two separate players, both quite headline news. The first one is that Everton have been in contact with Denzel Dumfries' agent, and PSV are expecting a bid anytime now. And the other one is that Rafa Benitez has highlighted Clement Lenglet as his target and has told the Everton board that's who he'd like. So we'll start off with the Denzel Dumfries one. And the news is that Everton have spoke to Mino Raiola, Denzel Dumfries' agent, about Everton making a move for the player. This has come via Sport Witness, who've translated Football International. And Football International's journalist Marco Timmer has said, yes, of course, these are negotiations going on. And with that, it can also be counted as negotiations that, in this case, Mino Raiola is conducting with Dortmund or Liverpool, for example, for Malin, and Inter and Everton for Dumfries. So he's been given that space. They are allowed to talk to other clubs, and that at some point it can go fast. So obviously agents do this a lot now. They're drumming up interest. They're talking to the clubs, trying to get the best deal for themselves and the player. Not necessarily the club always, but more so the player and themselves. So obviously he's talking to Inter Milan still, and obviously he's still talking to us about Denzel Dumfries. But we also have the news that broke from Rick Elfrink of Eindhoven Dagblad via Goodison News. Which is that PSV have yet to receive an offer for Denzel Dumfries, but they are expecting Everton to put one. And the rumoured fee is meant to be 13 million as an asking price. I must admit, I thought he was going to cost us a lot more than that. I thought we were thinking of 20 plus anyway. For 13 million, it's a bargain, I think. He's fast, he's strong, he's athletic, he's great defending, but he's also very, very good going forward. I'd say he's better going forward than he is defending. But that is the modern fullback nowadays. You know, your Trents, your Digne's, although Digne's good defensively, but you know, he's a lot better going forward. That's just the way fullbacks are now. They're so important to the game and the build-up play and the width. And Dumfries will provide that. He was a real joy to watch in the Euros. If you've had the luxury of watching him, you'll know what I mean. He was so good to watch. And he's just been a real joy. He looks like a really good player. And for 13 million, I think he's, you know, I know he's only ever played in Holland, and that could be, you know, one of the things that people look at, going, can he cut it in the Prem? But I think looking at him physically, he's got the physical build to last in the Prem. He's quite a big lad and quite fast for a big lad. And, I mean, for 13 million, I think he's very worth it. I'd say a gamble, but he's literally shown at the Euros he can do it on the European stage. I think it's just a really good transfer, all things considered. And I'm actually quite excited about this one. It has dragged on a little bit longer than I thought, and it does look like it might drag on a little bit later on as well, as there's no bid yet been made. But I feel like this is one of those ones where he'll defo come. It's just a matter of getting it over the line. It's just going to take a little bit longer than we'd all want. But I think he's definitely going to come, or I hope so anyway. Fingers crossed. And you know, touch wood, I've not cursed that. But we'll have to wait and see. But with our other headline news, again coming from Sport Witness, Rafa Benitez has asked the Everton board to sign Clement Lenglet. The new defender is on Benitez's to-do list in the first transfer window as Everton manager. It's claimed the Spaniard had a lot of problems in the heart of Everton's back four, in particular with Yerry Mina, who has failed to impress for Colombia in the Copa America. The 61-year-old is reportedly wants an experienced partner for Moise Kean, ruling out Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate as too young. Therefore, the Blues boss has asked the Everton board to sign Lenglet. Apparently, Benitez wants to take advantage of Barcelona's economic situation, and the Frenchman's price tag is now around 20 million and placed him on Joan Law-Porter's discard list. I mean, there's a couple of things. He looks like a good player. You might as well take advantage of Barcelona's financial ruining at the minute, because although they've signed a load of free players, apparently they can't get them on there because the wage is too high for the wage band in the La Liga. So like Aguero won't be playing at all if they can't get the wage down. Plus they've obviously would like to keep Messi ideally, but his wage is going to be a lot on that band. And I think they'd rather keep Messi, sell a couple of players and keep the ones they've bought on a free. So that'll probably be Barcelona's theory. I will say I disagree with Yerry Mina not being impressive. I thought he's having a good Copa America. It's one of the most aerial duels. There's a couple of stats flying around from him. He seems to have had a really good, really good Copa America. They got beat by Argentina in the semi-finals. He did miss his penalty, but that's unfortunate. It's one of them. They did take Argentina to penalties though. Um, and I think Yerry Mina is actually a really good defender when he stays fit. I think he's one of our better defenders, if not our best, when he's fit. So I feel like Benitez is a bit harsh there. Obviously, the too young thing. I mean, if you're not going to play Ben Godfrey, then send him out on loan or something, because I don't want to see him just sat there, not playing. He's been a joy to watch. He's been one of our, one of our best players last season, one of our best buys anyway. And to just completely derail that by not playing him would be quite an upsetting thing. I mean, I hope Benitez sees him actually in training and thinks, oh no, he's actually, the too young thing is a silly thing to have said. But we'll have to wait and see on what the manager decides. Mason Holgate, I always thought his future at the club might be in doubt, because I think he's one of the weaker centre-backs, just in the way that he just... there's something about him. He's not quite a right-back, he's not quite a centre-back. I don't know what he is. But we also have the news that Everton have considered a bid for Pierluigi Golini. We obviously reported this the other day, but Sport Witness have said that they have taken information of Golini on board and now are really considering to make a bid for the player. Golini's future in Atalanta is up in the air following the arrival of Juan Musso, who is expected to take the number 1 shirt, pushing the Italian further down the pecking order. I mean, I said this in the last video, if it pushes Pickford to help him perform, and just keep him on his on his heels, very good. I don't see him coming in taking Pickford's spot though. Him and Pickford are the same age, so he'd be able to challenge Pickford, for the foreseeable. But I don't think he's going to take Pickford's spot. I think Pickford is proving to be, the player we all thought he could be, and has been for Everton this last, second half of the season. He's been one of our better players. And people are seeing that now. I don't think he's getting all the credit he deserves from the media, and I think he's still being a bit of a scapegoat whenever England have a rough patch, which is unfair on him. But I'm impressed with him, and I think he is our number 1 again next season, whether we get Golini or not. We also have the news that Everton, according to Team Talk, are eyeing up Euros 2020 star Patrik Schick. Patrik Schick has been the standout player, putting him on 5 goals for the Golden Boot, level with Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, he won't be getting any more because the Czech Republic have obviously been kicked out before the semi-finals. But yeah, apparently Leverkusen aren't willing to sell though, and there is a 40 million price tag. That's a lot of money for me if you're not going to play him. If you're going to play him back up in the 4-2-3-1, that's a lot of money for someone who's going to sit on the bench. I think we could get better options. I mean, if Moise Kean stays, we don't need him. If Moise Kean goes, I guess you could say sell and buy with the money we get from Moise Kean. But it's all up on the air on what we do with Moise Kean, I feel personally. Which, speaking of the devil, Everton have refused to allow Moise Kean to leave the club on loan, despite PSG's interest. The club are not in talks with any club over a permanent deal, writes Phil Kirkbride for The Echo. The Blues are adamant that they're not interested in a loan deal for the 21-year-old, who is determined to force a return to PSG. But talks with the French club have reached a complete derail because they only want a loan offer. It's understood Rafa Benitez is insisted the talk of a new loan is not entertained for a player who has 3 years left on his new deal. So it looks like Rafa and the club have put their foot down. They've said no, he's not going anywhere unless you buy. I mean, Moise Kean can force it all he likes, but he's on the contract at Everton, and we're not saying he can't go. If PSG put the money up, he can go, but someone's got to put money up. That's all we're saying. So I mean, if he has got a problem, which I don't know if he has, but if he has, or he does develop a problem over it, it's not with Everton. He really needs to take it up with PSG, because if they rate him as highly as as the media he thinks, then they will pay the price for him. And we're not in the business of letting players go silly and not making profit. We also have the news that Ancelotti has made contact with Richarlison over the move to Real Madrid. This is according to Goal. The Italian has apparently had a phone call with Richarlison, discussing him coming to the Spanish capital. It is early stages, but that's one to watch. I think it's very temperamental, that one. They obviously had a close relationship when Ancelotti was at Everton. And if he's ringing Richarlison up, that's a bit. I mean, it feels a bit like tapping up players, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Hopefully he doesn't go because he's one of our better players. And I stick by what I said. If he goes, he will just pull him from the Olympics, and it'll be no Olympics for Richarlison. So it's up to him really. Also, we end on Seamus Coleman breaking his silence. Coleman has spoke about the new manager, Rafael Benitez. He wrote on evertonfc.com. We're all eager to impress the new manager. It's a new set of eyes. I spoke to him before I came back, and he's addressed to all of us on the training ground. We've got hard work and to impress him. It's an exciting time, and we're looking forward to it. I mean, I didn't expect him to say anything else. He's not going to come out and say he disagrees with or anything. He's always going to say, new set of eyes. And the way we go through managers, you could probably just copy and paste that from last year. But yeah, all the players look like they're ready to go. It looks like the season's raring. Hopefully we can get a few transfers in. And, who knows, we could do something really good this season. Who knows, he might prove me wrong. Hopefully he does. I'd like to see, this being a really good year where we build and develop on something. Put some groundwork in place. But that is everything we've got time for today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, comment down below on anything I've discussed. Do you think we're right with sticking with Moise Kean, sticking our guns down on Moise Kean? Do you like Patrik Schick? Do you think Dumfries is just going to be a long, but eventually we'll get him? Lenglet, do you like the look of Lenglet, or would you stick with Yerry Mina? And what do you think about the comments of Holgate and Ben Godfrey being too young? Yeah, just let us know all of that down below, and don't forget to follow me and the Toffee Blues on Twitter. The links are in the description down below, and most importantly, stay safe.